G'day everyone. Attached is the end of the financial year quarterly report, and it's fantastic to see some positive numbers for the end of the financial year, and really good to see those numbers on a rolling 12-month basis, which is really good. The quarter specifically was sort of a bit of a flat one really. We saw some sectors perform quite strongly, while others such as energy and telecommunication pull back a little bit. So look, really in relation to the energy sector, it's had a reasonable run, and then we've seen obviously a little bit of uncertainty in relation to legislative consequences moving forward, so that's had a bit of effect on the share price, and given some of the key stocks in those areas have performed reasonably well over the last 12 months, it's not surprising that we've seen a bit of a pullback. The major pullback in that area and the major result for the last quarter really was in relation to the banking sector. So clearly in the May budget we saw the banking tax get announced, and share prices in the major banks pull back almost straight away. So look, our view is with it that clearly the share prices are factored in our view almost more than what you would expect the consequences of that tax to be on the profitability of the banks, and even if they do decide to reduce or even keep dividends the same in the near future, the current share price where it is at the moment is still relatively attractive, and if anything the banks are pretty strong and paying out good dividends and yields even if they do cut that dividend back. So look, our view is that potentially a little bit of a blip in the short term view of the banks, but ultimately despite them saying that they won't pass it on to shareholders or customers, it's got to go somewhere, and we think that that's where it'll be in some form or another as the legislation passes over the next little period, I guess. Overseas, so clearly it was really interesting to hear Rick Reeder from Blackrock talk in the last month or so leading into the end of the financial year. So he looks after $3.2 trillion of fixed interest for Blackrock, so a pretty obviously significant portfolio, and a pretty influential sort of a guy as well, as he consults to the Fed and has connections in the Trump government. So really interesting to hear him talk about, as a fixed interest guy, being so positive about the US economy and markets over there, and even markets around the world, and the fact that yes, there's been a talk of this Trump bubble, but his view and the view of a lot of people is that there's a lot more fundamentals to the recent positive overseas results and returns. So really interesting to hear him continually talking about the fact that they're going to have to increase interest rates over there. So they're talking about doing that over the next 12 months or so, and even 18 months, and continuing to do that. Clearly they've got to be just a little bit careful with the flow and effect in sentiment and stuff like that, but he was quite positive about the US economy. Clearly if they're going to increase interest rates in the US and Australia keeps rates on hold, you would expect that to cause a decrease in the currency here in Australia compared to the US dollar. So if that does play out, that's a positive for international holdings that have exposure to currency. So that we see that as a really good thing potentially in the near future for the portfolios, which is really good. So overall, we're really comfortable with where portfolios are at. I mean, we're cautiously optimistic about the next 12 months, but it's something that we still think that there's some quality companies out there which are paying good dividends, and that's what we're trying to build our portfolios around. Clearly, you would have seen the changes to superannuation from the 1st of July. So just a really quick refresher: those with salary sacrifice, just make sure you change those to allow for the $25,000 limits. Those with TTR pensions, just to review the appropriateness of them moving forward. And then also we've got an election to make for people with over $1.6 million in pensions in relation to the capital gains tax relief. So they're a little to-do list, I guess, over the next couple of weeks that we really need to be on top of. So give us a call if you want to talk through any of that. One little last shout out. So obviously over the last few months I've been releasing Retire Right. So hopefully you found those videos of interest and those sorts of things. If you haven't, jump onto the website and have a bit of a look, have a share it to your friends. Shoot through any comments, suggestions. Really, ultimately the videos are for you guys as clients, so hopefully you enjoy them. So any feedback, positive or negative, willing to take it on board. So yeah, I hope you like the quarterly report and look forward to hearing from you in due course. Cheers.